Hi, Pocket. In this video, I'm a little sick. Sick of being so powerful, maybe. In Monster Hunter Wilds, when you hunt a specific monster 20, 30, 40, and 50 times, you are given a title. These titles do nothing mechanically, but socially, they're as endgame as it gets. I mean, who doesn't want to hold the title? Cloth Scissors. I'll be hunting them all in this fashion, 50 of each. This time, I'm hunting Hirabami, who looks like a spiky baby Narwa and Ibushi. Oh my gosh, so cute, Narwa Bushi. So cute, baby. Please, I love you. Hirabami unlocks the titles Hirabami, Flutter, Scissors, and Cloth. Before starting the hunts, I already hunted 13 Hirabami, but I'll still be hunting another 50, up to 63. The time has come. Charge Blade, the weapon of legend. The Super Blaster, calling actual lightning down from the heavens like Mjolnir. My first hunts with this weapon ever across any Monster Hunter title. Oh, the fresh young terror. I was practically trembling in my shoes. When the hunter first hunts a Hirabami in the story, there's 3 of them. Back then, I actually hadn't realized that there was only one necessary for the quest, and I guess I chose them in the wrong order because I ended up hunting all 3. It's also the first monster the hunter fights in the Ice Shard Cliffs, which is genuinely such a cool location. These floating rocks are awesome, and they get pulled down at sort of weird angles, so it feels really cool to land. These monsters like to sleep in cute little packs, and unlike some other monsters, they don't have any hostility toward their own kind. There was actually a hunt when I set out for my 24th Hirabami that I was ambushed by a trio of them. Hirabami marks our 3rd Leviathan met in the 50 hunts, with Balahara and Uthduna coming before. This leaves only the final mighty Jindahad for last. Because Leviathans are considered wyverns, both Balahara and Hirabami can both provide wyvern gems from their rewards. I didn't realize this until Hirabami either, but all Leviathans have their weak point in the same place, right on the front of their face. Speaking of weak points, it's a nice temporary wound spot on monsters that can be focus striked for a bigger opening. Hirabami's appears on its mouth after it does its icy ranged attack, almost identically to how Balahara's shows up after it does its little water blasts. It wasn't difficult to grab, especially with how quick and far the focus strike of Charge Blade travels, but for some reason it was really inconsistent. Even when I tried to focus strike directly onto the wound, during the perfect time to grab it, about 60% of the time it just wouldn't register. Either way, as long as the ranged attacks are dodged or blocked, this weak point is very accessible. But if you don't want to wait for a weak point to appear, don't worry. Hirabami loves floating in the air, which, you know what that means. Flash pods, baby! Wahoo! Wahoo, wahoo! This monster is hyper vulnerable to flash pods, and until they release Arc-Tempered Hirabami, I'm gonna take advantage of that weakness. Flashes are hyper effective against this monster, especially when it does any of its big wind-ups for its swirling giant attacks. A single flash pod solves it all. Hirabami doesn't just drop out of the sky a bunch during the fight like a piñata struck too hard. It also drops so many slicing pods, and even some piercing pods. It might be because I recently hunted Zoshia with only the slinger, but I love these pods. Breaking the tail will dispense more and more slashing pods, and those slashing pods can be used again on the tail to occasionally produce even more slashing pods. Between those and the piercing pods, this monster hands the hunters tons of free damage just laying on the ground, which are amazingly useful when playing defensively or chasing after Hirabami as it flies between areas. Again, the range on the slinger is awesome. Obviously, mounting a monster is great. Free damage with a nice damage opening to top it off when done successfully. But Hirabami is a little more vulnerable to this sort of thing than most monsters I've mounted before. In almost every area I mounted Hirabami, it would find a way to run over to the nearest dangerous wall, whether it was a thorn bush or a wall of icicles, and then foolishly impale itself on it. Important note that monsters will tend to do these sorts of headbutts as long as the hunter is on the head, but it just seems kind of absurd that Hirabami decided, well, the The hunters climbed aboard. Time to sink this ship ASAP. I haven't experienced a monster doing this to itself so frequently that I kind of felt bad by the end and would try to end the mounts quickly. Poor Hirabami. And if that wasn't bad enough, poor Hirabami has 2 turf wars and gets absolutely decimated in both of them. Whether it's a stray Arkveld strolling through town to blow up a Hirabami, or Blangonga unleashing its inner Rajang and reminding me that it's not just a goofy monkey, but it's actually a proper fanged beast by flinging Hirabami around like a floaty fish, this baby Narbushi really can't catch a break. Even hunting this with Charge Blade, a weapon I'm still pretty horribly clumsy with, and still haven't gotten a good grip on, I was able to make it through most of these hunts quite quickly and safely, especially because Hirabami is one of the 5 monsters that can spawn Frenzied in the Ice Shard Cliffs, alongside Nerscylla, Kutku, Gypceros, and Blangonga. The Frenzied versions have remarkably small health pools, which is even smaller when Arkveld blasts it for a couple thousand damage right off the rip, so I avoided fighting these and fought tempered ones for the majority of the 50. These hunts took me about 3 hours, 26 minutes, and 36 seconds, which equals out to around 4 minutes and 8 seconds per hunt. I gathered 97 tail claws, 234 scales, 212 hides, 152 webbing, 80 freezer sacks, 108 certificates, and 31 wyvern gems. But most importantly, the titles Hirabami, Flutter, Scissors, and Cloth, that I may become Cloth Scissors Hirabami Headbutter. If you like this video and want to see another 50 hunts, let me know. Maybe there's a weapon that's super cool, or a monster that's super uncool, or maybe you think Hirabami is nothing like Narbushi, and I really ought not utter the almighty Allmother's name in vain. Let me know. Thank you for watching. Good luck, fellow hunters, and goodbye.